Hey everyone, I'm here in the garage with the mighty Mini X and I'm working on a hydraulic thumb project. There it is. Let me show you what I'm up to. So I bought this 7-8 months ago. Those of you who follow the channel have seen a few videos with this Yanmar mini excavator. I love it. It's awesome. I have a lot of fun with it. But when I bought it, I knew I would want to put a thumb on it. It did not have a thumb. And so it's time. I looked at thumbs and they're quite expensive. A hydraulic thumb for this machine from different thumb manufacturers, the cheapest I found out of 3 or 4 that I checked out was about $3,200. So I was a little surprised. I actually decided to try and do one myself. I'm fortunate enough to have a very kind neighbor who is a fabricator and has a CNC table. He drew this up, cut it out for me for a killer deal, but there's still quite a bit of work to do in figuring out the cylinder and then putting it all together. Right now it's just tacked for some measurement. This is tacked. This is not even tacked. It's just held by some magnets. So I think I finally have all the pieces here to start assembly. Here is the hydraulic cylinder I went with. Found it online. They had exactly what I wanted with the ports coming out the side. It would be nice if one of these was on the other side, but couldn't find that without paying a hefty penny more. So I'm ready to start tacking. Again, these are pieces my neighbor cut out. One other thing that has been a significant challenge and I'm yet to resolve is, since this is a main pin thumb, here's the pin that came with the machine with a grease zerk and a grease port right there. Now with the thumb, I need a longer pin. I still need to get grease in here, and I also need to get grease to these 2 bosses. I bought a piece of what the claim on eBay was that was 38mm pin rod. I tried to drive it in. It is not 38mm, it is 1.5 inches, which is 38.1. It got stuck. So that was quite an ordeal. I'll see if I have some time-lapse footage of me trying to pull that out. I essentially had to weld onto this some scrap steel and make a puller and run some 3/4 inch threaded rod back, whale on one end, pull on the other end back and forth for 45 minutes, and finally got that pin out. I then cleaned up all the welds off of it and then took a flap disc up and down it and brought it down to about 38mm. Of course, that's not machined, it's just freehand flap disc. So I don't think that's gonna work long term. It is hard to find 38mm rod, especially hardened rod. I'm not exactly sure how hard it needs to be. I need to do a little more homework. I can find some chrome plated 38mm rod, 15 inches, cost me $230. I can buy a pin from a different thumb manufacturer, and that will cost me $500. So I think I'm gonna try and make this one work and see if I can put my own grease ports in it. That could be a big fail, we'll see. If I get to that, it'll be at the end of the video. Okay, so for right now, I'm just going to first weld this up and then get it tacked in place and then check the geometry and make sure everything is fitting before I really start welding things together. All right, that's pretty good. All right, the next step, this is tacked just for measurement. Pull this off and figure out exactly where both of these plates will go on this side, using the same spacing that I used up on the top end. So we'll get that pulled off, which actually, there it goes. do some measuring and then get these tacked on a little better. Okay, next, I need to see how far up I can go with the top bracket before it gets pinched. I bought the longest cylinder, sitting right there. I bought the longest cylinder that I thought I could fit, probably a little too long, 24 inch. It'll be tight. That is it, right there. Does hit. So before it's fully retracted, which would be touching, which I don't want it to touch, I do hit up here. See, if I'd have gone with a 2-inch shorter cylinder, I wouldn't have that. I got greedy on travel, but okay, I've gone back and forth a little bit here. I've decided I like this where it is. So it's touching right now. I'm gonna tack it in place and then I will grind to give myself at least an 1/8 inch clearance. So I'll take some material off of here. That way when the stick is fully retracted, this will not hit. That also then gives me a little bit tighter, tuck with the thumb when it's fully retracted. Okay, we'll loosen these plugs so air can move in and out of the cylinder. And we will fire up the machine and check all the movements. It would be nice if I had hydraulic hoses to actually move things, but I don't, because I need to plumb things and measure for hoses, so. Looks really good. Looks really good. It was a long cylinder, but we'll try it. grinder and paint make me the welder I ain't. This side looks a little better. I've got it turned up pretty hot and I'm really trying to burn it in. So I'll take the cylinder off now and maybe grind it down a little bit and get the inside and do a second pass to really get that burned on. Okay, there it is, all welded up. Some of these beads look okay. You know, I had stitched it before, that's why there's breaks. I did a double weld here, really kind of maybe too much material, but I think too much better than not enough. My welds splatter more than they probably should. I'm not sure why. If it's my gas setting, too much heat, too much wire, not enough wire, not sure. This is the most I've ever welded right here, honestly. Other than little things, this is the most I've ever done. Got the bosses all welded in. Got this piece on. This was quite tough because I had to weld at an angle. Oh, don't look at that. That is awful. And I tried to fix it and it got worse. My grinder can't reach in there. These are okay. You know what though? I think it'll stick. And if it doesn't, I'll put it on again. So next I'll paint it up, mount the cylinder, measure for hoses, and boy, I'm getting close. I'm pretty excited to have a thumb, finally. It'll be really handy. A lot of tree work to do out at the farm, so. But I'm not done yet, so stay tuned, and in a blink of an eye for you, I'll be back at it, which might be Monday for me. Here's the thumb. It's all painted up. I was actually traveling on business for a couple weeks, so that paint has had plenty of time to dry and cure, as has the paint up here. And so now let's see if we can't get the cylinder on and get some hydraulic hoses hooked up to it. Okay, the remote hydraulics on the left and right side of the stick are driven off of this switch on the right-hand control. Now there's quick connect couplers. What I'm going to do is remove those couplers and just tap in directly on this valve block. If I want to add the couplers back, which I will eventually, I will do that through a T right here. That way, if I put an implement on that requires hydraulics off the coupler, I can turn the thumb off using this on-off valve that will shut off power to the thumb and send all the power to the hydraulic coupler. I don't have that T. I'll deal with that later. For now, I'll just remove the couplers and tap into here. That's how I've seen it done on other machines. This bolt is the on-off. Right now it's in the on position, so I will turn that to off so I can remove this without making a mess and then tap in. I'll come out the bottom with an elbow. I then reduce from 1/2 inch to 3/8 inch. Then I can thread in this hydraulic fitting, which goes 3/8 pipe thread to 3/8 swivel, which then will hook to my hose. And on the other end of the hose, I have 3/8 swivel to, forget what that's called, but an O-ring. 3/8 with an O-ring, which is what is required there. I don't like this pipe, black pipe fitting. I've ordered a proper hydraulic fitting that is 1/2 inch male to 3/8 female. So this is temporary, but you know what they say about temporary. If it works, it might not be temporary, but I plan to change that out. Let's just see if we can make this work though. Well, that was almost too easy. But here's the final setup. Just zip tied that to this bracket. Now I have to cross over. A proper cylinder for a thumb would have the upper port out this side. So I need to cross over, which isn't a problem, except I think rubbing will be an issue here. So I might make a sleeve out of some sheet metal and zip tie it on there so that that doesn't rub through. Then that runs to this top port. And then this one, same setup, runs up and down. Now usually a commercial thumb will have a hard line up to here, but I think this is just fine. So, gosh, now I just try it out. Fire it up and see if it works. I'm a little bit nervous. Let's see. Wow, that works. Okay, I'm gonna button up a few things, get this attached, maybe cut this off, a few other small things, and then get all these panels back on and put the bucket on, pull it out, and test it out with the bucket. Super cool. Hey, well that is awesome. That is exactly what I wanted. Super cool. So the one problem I see is that the hydraulic on the thumb is a little stronger, or it can overcome the bucket hydraulic. So I'll have to look in the manual and see if there's a way to turn down the pressure on this cylinder or on these remotes. I know on some machines there is, so I assume there is on this machine. Well, that's it. The only thing left now is to come up with a pin. And I might try to make this one work by adding grease zerks. I'll do that in another video, and I might fail miserably. If you never see that video, that means I failed. And I'll have to buy a pin, but we'll give that a shot. I'll make that in another video. See if we can't make that greasable. But other than that, wow, super cool. There it is, hydraulic thumb. I picked that railroad tie up, no problem. That is a heavy railroad tie. These machines are so amazing, so much power. Look at my new paint job. Looks really nice, all the yellow. Had a big rust spot here. Patched it up. Not perfect, but pretty good, I'd say. Oh. Don't know what happened. Gotta adjust that. Adjust that panel. Well, once I get that pin built, this thing goes back out to the farm. Put the roll cage back on and put it to work. I got some things to do before spring. Thanks everyone for watching.